Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Alex Grayberg and I create videos about drawing. In this tutorial I will guide you through the process of coloring this image of macarons and raspberries. Check out the description below to find a list of all the materials used to make this piece, as well as the link to the reference image. You can start by going over the macarons with the base color, which is 119. Next, you add shadows using 134 and then 194 for the darker parts, and just a little black 199 for the very darkest parts. You then build up the darkest layers using 194 and then light the lightest parts with white. You then add a bit of 129 and 134 to the midtones, building them up. Next, you work on the filling by adding grays to the shadows, using different shades of warm gray to create smooth transitions in order to get a 3D effect. You then work on mint leaves, once again starting with the shadows, then going over the leaves with the lightest green. You then build up the color in the shadows and then in the midtones, and finally add some white to the lightest parts. For the raspberries, you add a light layer of midtone first, and then general shadows over the raspberry as a whole, rather than working on individual segments. You don't have to add details in this step. You just need enough pigment on the paper so you can blend with solvent. Finally, add some blues and greys to the background, trying to capture the lights and darks as they appear on the reference photo without making it too detailed. The next step is blending everything out with solvent. So you blend the leaves first, and then the raspberries, then the cookies, and finally the background, making sure you're not transferring color from one area to another. After blending everything with solvent, you leave the drawing to dry completely. I usually leave it for a day or two. Once it's fully dry, you can add more colored pencil on top. This is the stage at which you add details to your drawing, like you can see me add to this leaf here. You do that by using the darkest colors in the darker parts and the lightest colors in the lighter parts. And then burnish with midtones by pressing hard with your pencil to smooth and blend everything out and create a nice finish. For best results, you have to keep checking your reference image and comparing it with your drawing, trying to figure out what you should do to make it look as similar as possible. For example, the little cracks on the cookies need to be added by following your reference closely if you want them to look realistic. They may look a bit abstract and out of place as you're working on them, but they will add to the realism of the whole piece once it's done. At this stage, you add segments to the raspberries. I experimented a bit here using different techniques on the raspberries on the top and the ones on the bottom. The one on the top and the one on the middle were colored segment by segment, but I realized later that I like to work on the raspberry as a whole and then add details to individual segments, as you can see me do on the raspberries at the bottom. That doesn't mean it's better to do it that way, it's just a way that suits me more. You can try both techniques on a separate piece of paper to see what works best for you. Finally, you add more blues and greys to the background, trying to roughly imitate the effect on the reference image with the lines and the colors. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it worked and that it was easy to follow. I'm only just starting with narrated tutorials, so I hope to improve as I go along. If it helped, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Bye for now, and I hope to see you in the next one.